now come to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, thank you for all you have done for our fine city. We know you have seen our challenges, wept at our weaknesses, and rejoiced in our successes. As we begin this new year, we ask for your continued blessings and guidance. In your name, amen.
I also like to have condolences for the Brown family in the loss of their mother, Miss Ruby Lee Brown, who passed away today.
Clerk Golick, roll call.
Markovich.
Here.
Spitali.
Here.
Venez.
Here.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Here.
Higgs. Here. Emerson.
Here.
Hinosa. Opinker.
Here. At this time, we're going to have nominations for the new year for President and Vice President. First of all, do I have any nominations for President?
Mr. President,
Councilman
I'd
Spitali.
like to nominate Councilman Mike Opinker for President. Second.
Any other nominations for President? Now nominations for Vice President.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I nominate Dan Spitali for Vice President.
Second.
Okay, there's nomination by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Ulaki. Any other nominations for Vice President?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
point of order, I don't believe a second is required for nomination.
Okay. Any other nominations for Vice President? Okay, first of all those in favor of myself for President? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? President again. Happy to serve you folks. Honored. For Vice President, Councilman Spitali, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Councilman Spitali, as Vice President.
Thank you, President.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Ditto.
Okay, moving on to approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims December 10th.
Yeah, minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Reading of minutes.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
make a motion to accept the minutes from December 15, 2014.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilman Emerson to accept the minutes. 2014, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes accepted. Moving on now to approval of claims.
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
move for approval of claims December 10th, 2014 through January 7th, 2015 for council meeting January 12th, 2015. Beginning with claims dated 1/6/15, ending with claims dated 1/7/15. Claim number 1 through claim number 316 inclusive, for a total of $8,013,225.82. I so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Higgs for accepting the claims. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the claims?
Chairman,
Councilman Markovich.
I have a couple of additions. Claim number 317, Toll Theater, $175 for half-page ad for seasonal program. And claim number 318, Ron J. Pestimer, $4,824 for Hammond Fire Department insurance. I so move.
Second.
There's a motion by Councilman Markovich, second by Councilman Spitali on the amended claims. Is there any discussion? Any discussion on the amended claims? Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Hinosa. Opinker.
Yes. Amended claims pass 7-0, 2 absent. Now the claims as written. Clerk Golick, roll call vote.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez. Halwinski. Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes, claims pass 7-0, 2 absent. Moving on to public hearing, there is none this evening. Moving on to communications, any communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
received the correspondence from, I guess, the chief. Says Chief Doty is requesting to meet with you Wednesday, January 14th, 2015 at 9 a.m. in the Hammond PD second floor training room concerning the changing of the speed limit and adding a stop sign on Holman Avenue. Please let me know if the date and time is inconvenient for you. Thank you, Chief Doty, and it's attention to Councilman Mark Lewinsky, Anthony Higgs, and William Emerson.
Three councilmen get that? Yes, sir. Any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
Philistine Health and Family Services Center, the Philistine Development Corporation and governing body of the Philistine Health and Service and Family Service Center respectfully request donations for items for the 29th annual Black and White Ball auction. This year, Black and White Ball will take place February 7, 2015 at Dynasty Banquet in Hammond, Indiana. As you know, we are a nonprofit organization and depend on your generous donations of sponsors to be able to continue to provide outstanding services for our community. The auction provides an opportunity, though brand expenses and brands of possible builds a possible reputation for ball attendance. Your generosity and contribution for these, the fellow sponsors and attendees, are what make our auction a success. Please consider contributing one or more auction items this year. We are seeking high-end items as well as gift basket items. You may donate per made gift baskets with your company's brand, or you can simply offer individual items which the committee will combine units for the auction as suitable. Items may include such things as one or more nights at a resort hotel, sports or concert tickets, gift cards, dinner, and fun items that would like to donate in the fundraiser events. One of the many goals to provide services expand our senior citizen program, I Am for Teens, and our youth enrichment series. For additional information about these programs, please visit our website at affiliatesteam.com. To contribute items, please contact me at affiliatesteam@yahoo.com or at 219-853-2630. Sincerely, Carolyn Jackson, President of the Community Center Development Corporation.
Clerk Golick, take note that Councilman Kowinski is in attendance. Any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
received the correspondence that says dated January 9, 2015, Anthony Higgs, 3rd District Councilman, City of Hammond, 5925 Calumet Avenue, Hammond, Indiana, 46320. We are requesting that at the January 12, 2015 Hammond County Council meeting, that a motion be placed on the floor asking for a moratorium on Indiana Criminal Justice Institute grant administered by the Hammond Police Department in reference to the jaywalking citations. Not only target middle and high school students, it is our opinion that the reckless practices that have already led to the alleged excessive force in incidents while citing a student at Morton High School. We are also requesting that the rules be suspended for those who wish to speak to this grieved issue. We need to take a deep breath and look at what we are trying to accomplish with the practices that subject our most vulnerable assets, that are our children, at such an early age of 10 to a criminal system which city does this is just absurd. Especially in adults, judges, attorneys, and employees are able to jaywalk across the street to get to the building, to work, lunch, and back to their vehicles without the worry of being ticketed. It is unfair looking at paying a minimum of $160 for jaywalking tickets is considered by some legal extortion. And additionally, the letter that we have received from the chief of HPD indicated that that there were flyers distributed in the schools for the purpose of education, intercom notices in the schools. However, after speaking with Dr. Watkins, superintendent of the Hammond Public Schools, he indicated that he was not aware of any flyers, intercom announcements, etc., and went on to say that he was not aware that the students were actually cited for jaywalking and appeared in Hammond City Court and actually fined. Also, from the investigation at Eggers Middle and Morton High, there are some simple solutions to curtail that the jaywalking issue, as opposed to the subjecting our children is punitive action. In conclusion, we are hoping for the opportunity to sit down and develop a real solution for the issue and consider all the concerns listed above, immediately stop the practice of ticketing youth for jaywalking. Hammond Grassroots Coalition for Justice, Kendall Warner, Johnny Williams, Carolyn Jackson, Ola Smith, Keaton Gray, Kalada, Blake King, CC David Camp, Attorney General William Rowe, FBI, Kenneth Burns, Summers, DOJ.
Any other communications?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
over the last week or so, I had to actually go to KFC and clean out where the dumpster was placed, the old KFC building. For some reason or another, we had amended an ordinance a while back in reference to some of these issues. So at the end of the meeting, I am going to somehow or another send a letter to the judge. So when we have eyesores in the community, I know they're allowed to remove trees or whatnot, but when we have eyesores of such, and they continue to sit in our city and nothing's being done, we need some kind of mechanism put in place so that these type of areas can be cleaned up. Because for me to personally and have other people help to get these items placed in the alley in order for the city to pick them up is ridiculous to me. I mean, it's far-fetched, and yet have I seen KFC cited for this particular eyesore. So certainly something needs to be done in regards to that particular building. So that's all I have.
Any other communications? Communications is now closed. Moving on to committee reports. I believe there are none. Ordinance is third and final passage. There are none. Introduction of ordinances. There are none. Moving on to resolutions. 15R-01. Clerk Golick.
Item A, Resolution 15R-01, sponsored by Councilman O'Pinker. A resolution authorizing the City of Hammond by the Hammond Fire Department to apply for a 2015 Homeland Security Foundation grant.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for final passage of 14R01.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Spitali for final passage of 15R-01. Is there any discussion?
I did say 15, didn't I? 14. Or 14, I'm sorry. It's 15R01.
15R-01. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
This is a $4,000 grant for reimbursement of EMS jump bags to be used for public safety.
Any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to be added as a sponsor of this particular resolution, excuse me. I so move.
Could you add Councilman Higgs to that ordinance as a sponsor? Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote, 50R01.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Hinosa. O'Pinker.
Yes. 15R01 passes 8-0, one absent.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs?
you said ordinance is a resolution.
A resolution, I'm sorry.
Item B, Resolution 15R02, sponsored by Councilman Spitali and Councilwoman Venez. A resolution appointing Greg Myrick to serve as a member of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission in 2015.
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
move for final passage of 15R-02.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Spitali, second by Councilwoman Venez on final passage of 15R02. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Spitali.
Mr. Myrick has been on there for 3 years. He's working on his 4th year right now. He's also from the 3rd District, and also, too, he's a realtor, which really does help understand a lot of issues that happen on that particular board. He's doing a great job.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to be a sponsor of that particular resolution as well.
Clerk Golick, could you add Councilman Higgs as sponsor?
Mr. President,
Mr. Mayor.
I know Mr. Myrick is the appointee to the council, but I want to echo the council, applaud the council for putting him on there. He's done a really great job. He asks a lot of questions. He works really well. I think he represents the council great. And I want to remind you that at this point, you only have one appointee to the Redevelopment Commission, so this would be your second appointee. And if it didn't get filled tonight, it would be vacant for at least a couple more weeks. So, but I just wanted to make sure I got to put on the record what a great guy he is and what a great job he does. So I appreciate Councilman's support.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 15R02.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes. 15R02 passes 8-0, one absent.
President Opinker, that concludes the reading of the resolutions.
Thank you, Clerk Golick. Moving on to new and unfinished business.
Item A, intent to consider a petition of Byway Brewing Company for a variance of use from zoning ordinance to allow distribution and food processing located at 2825 Carlson Drive.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
I move for final passage of 1448.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Venez, second by Councilman Kowinski for final passage of 14-48. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
this comes before us after favorable recommendations from the BZA and redevelopment. If Mr. Novak would like to speak to this, you're more than welcome.
Good evening. The zoning board had a public hearing, and they had determined they had met the required standards for a positive recommendation to the council. This would basically allow for a food processing, and actually it's a microbrewery, so that's how it would be classified. We feel it's a good project, and we recommend that it be approved. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Any other discussion? Clerk Golick, roll call vote on 1448.
Markovich.
Yes.
Spitali.
Yes.
Venez.
Yes.
Kalwinski.
Yes.
Ulaki.
Yes.
Higgs.
Yes.
Emerson.
Yes.
Enosa. Opinker.
Yes, 1448 passes 8-0, one absent. Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Venez.
with the beginning of the new year, the Community and Crime Watch meetings are beginning again. On Tuesday, January 20th, the East Hammond Pullman Crime Watch will meet 6:30 p.m. at the Ophelia Steen Center. On Thursday, January 15th, Hessville Crime Watch will meet at 7 p.m. at the Gene Shepherd Center. Also on Thursday, January 15th, the South Hammond Crime Watch will meet at the Hammond Housing Authority building on 173rd. That begins at 6:30. And that is how change happens. One gesture, one person, one moment at a time. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
received the correspondence from the Ophelia Steen Health Service Center. Senior Citizens Day is Monday, January 19, 2015, at 5927 Columbia Avenue, Hammond, Indiana, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Play chess, checkers, dominoes, card games, and bingo. Enjoy free refreshments, great old friends, and meet new friends. Win great prizes. All senior citizens are welcome.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
sent the correspondence to Gary Gleason in regards to some particular streets within my district, so I'm going to request a letter be sent again in terms of getting some salt down on Carroll Street from Seoul to Calumet, on Morris from Calumet to Columbia, on Seoul by the United States Post Office, on Dracker Street from Calumet to Columbia, on Becker from Calumet to Columbia. I've received several phone calls, so I'm requesting that salt be placed there. I so move.
There's a motion by Councilman Higgs to send a letter to Gary Gleason in regards to them streets. Ladies, do you get them? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
6142 Van Buren, there's graffiti on the fence. I am requesting a letter be sent to the judge in regards to having the gang graffiti removed. I so move.
There's a motion by Councilman Higgs to send a judge a letter in regards to removal of graffiti. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'm requesting a letter be sent to Gary Gleason in regards to removing the debris, the couches, and the mattresses behind the KFC building on Calumet Avenue between Drackert and Eating. I so move.
Another motion by Councilman Higgs to send Gary Gleason a letter in regard to the removal of couches, mattresses behind the KFC on Calumet Avenue. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion granted.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I would like to send a thank you letter to the Chief of Police in regards to having the vehicles removed from the two lots where they sat there for a number of years, and I sent approximately about 10, 11 letters requesting that they be removed, and finally the cars are gone off the lot. Thank God. It just was a complete eyesore, not only on Calumet Avenue, but to an entire community. So I really appreciate the fact of them getting the tow trucks out there and having those vehicles removed. I so move.
Send a thank you letter to Chief of Police in regard to the removal of cars in the 3rd District. Councilman Higgs, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion granted. Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilman Emerson.
under the eyesore removed category, I noticed today driving down Holman Avenue, the formerly a Clark station, I want to say was another gas station, on roughly I want to say Webb, it may not be Webb, but it's the northwest corner of Harrison Park. The gas station is gone. It has been razed. I know they had allegedly had drug problems. They're selling drugs, what have you. So it looks really great. It's totally gone. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
for point of clarity, that is in the 3rd District, and you can look on the map. And I am also pleased and happy to see that gas station gone. Thank God.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vaz.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of our city workers and the people who have been doing work around the city, such as the demolition of the gas station. There was also a building that was demolished on the corner of 173rd and Columbia that was an eyesore for quite a long time. And our police department, fire department, street department, the people who pick up our trash have done a wonderful job in this weather that we've had with the cold temperatures and the snow. And I just wanted to say thank you publicly for your efforts. Thank you.
Any other new and unfinished business?
Mr. President?
Mr. Mayor.
A lot of the stuff that we talk about during a council meeting, Councilman Higgs just pointed out graffiti, for instance, and that's wonderful, and I appreciate him bringing it through this forum. But one of the things we've been trying to do as an administration is impress upon the residents of Hammond to download the 311 app so that they can report it directly. So if you wake up and your fence got tagged and you have the 311 app on your smartphone, you could literally take a picture of it with your phone and put it through the 311 system. It would go directly, that picture would go directly to graffiti removal, literally on their phone, and they'd be able to open it up. When you posted it, you would get acknowledgement back that the complaint was received. When graffiti removal was on their way out there, they would email you and say, we're on the way out there to clean it up. And after they got done, they would take a picture and send it back to you. You know, we started this C-Click Fix system about a year ago, and we're really pushing it upon the residents to try to download this app so that we could make filing complaints with the city a lot easier. So I'd appreciate your help in that endeavor as well. I think a lot of times, even on a radio show, when I'm called in and people leave a complaint like that, I try to remind them that, hey, no problem, I'll take your complaint. But I'd also like you to know that you could download this app for free, and a lot of people we know do have smartphones. So I would ask for your help in that as well. And I appreciate Councilman Higgs bringing that graffiti removal up, but at the same time, while we fix it, I would also like to remind the neighbor, if you download this app, you don't need to wait for 2 weeks until Councilman Higgs reads these off at a council meeting.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Councilman Higgs.
First and foremost, Mayor, I appreciate your efforts in regards to addressing this particular issue. But unfortunately, I have a number of senior citizens, not only do they not have cell
Understand.
phones, they don't have phones at all.
Yeah.
A lot of them, I personally go to their homes and find out what exactly they need. And as a councilman, I feel it's my obligation and my responsibility, as well as my duty, to let that information be disclosed at every council meeting in regards to any particular issue as it relates to my district.
Mr. President? In
Mayor?
response to Councilman Higgs, I don't mean to cut you off, Councilwoman. I appreciate that, and I realize there's a large percentage of our residents that don't have smartphones. However, I know the councilman probably does, and he could report it directly that day instead of us waiting 2 weeks until the next council meeting. You know, if Councilman Higgs had received this complaint 2 weeks ago and he waited until the council meeting, the resident would have to live with graffiti on their house until the next council meeting. You can report it directly through your phone, Councilman Higgs, for your constituent. I do it all the time.
Mr.
And-
President.
Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Councilwoman Vines.
Yes, I did want to say that change is always difficult. And for those who do have the smartphone and maybe don't know how to use it, this is just an easy way for them to communicate with the city. I received an email from a resident who sent me a picture of graffiti that happened to be in the 1st District. I then sent an email to the Hammond 311, and I got communication the very next day. This was on a Sunday. The very next day, they sent me an email saying that the graffiti was removed. So you don't have to have the smartphone. You can utilize the computer. And for those who don't have any of that technology, the old phone call will still work as well.
Yes, it does.
This is just a more efficient way of getting the graffiti cleaned up in our neighborhoods.
And, Mr. President, as council people, I think you could be a depository for complaints and you could file them yourself, you know? Councilman Jack in the 2nd District maybe has 3 or 4 constituents, give him 3 or 4 different complaints, and he sits there, types them all into C-Click Fix and sends them off to us. And we follow them when we track them, and we'll follow them up. And, you know, instead of, you know, Councilman Jack waiting for 2 weeks to come into a council meeting and send a letter to us, that could take 2-3 weeks before we get the complaint resolved. We can fix it like that with this new system. So I'm just asking, I'm not trying to cause problems, I'm just asking you all to help us. We're literally tracking how effective we are getting Hammond residents to download this app. So I'm asking for your help, and I appreciate it.
Mr. President.
Councilman Higgs.
You know what? To be openly and point blank to this whole situation currently, the reality of it is I can pull up, actually out of the computer at least, since I've been on this council, probably about 5,000 to 6,000 letters. Whether I say it on the council floor or send a letter, it still takes forever for it to happen. So maybe, Mayor, the suggestion would be to maybe meet with your department heads and see if we can extradite some of these things, getting them completed, especially in my
Expedite,
district.
right.
Yes.
Yeah, not
Because
expedite.
the reality of it is, I send letters as well as make phone calls. And you can pull out a smartphone and you can text and you can do whatever. You can stop by Conkey Street or whatever. the reality of it is, my main priority is getting it taken care of. So
Mr.
whatever tools we could be, and excuse me, Miss Janet Benez, Councilwoman Benez, any tools that we can utilize to better assist the constituents, I'm all for it. But I can attest to sending thousands of letters in regards to particular issues within the district, and can pull them up and give you copies.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Vines.
as I said before, change is sometimes difficult. When you access the See-Click Fix program, you can see what's going on in your neighborhood. You can follow the work that our departments are doing in terms of picking up trash, clearing debris, and the transmission on the cell phone or an email does not cost the 50 cents that a letter costs to mail. So, thank you.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
like I said, we could have a direct communication with our constituents by allowing them to download this app. I think that all of us as elected officials in the city should encourage that.
Mr. President,
Councilman
we
Higgs.
do have a promotional council. Any way you want to utilize that in terms of doing a training for the smartphone, or pay for a phone, or whatever you want to do for your colleagues, I'm all for it. Instead of taking, why don't you give a little more?
Who is that addressed to?
Wherever the shoe fits, wear it. That's what I would say.
Thank you very much.
Any other new and finished business? New and finished business is now closed. Moving on to public expression. Our first speaker of the night, and remember you have 3 minutes. State your name and your address. Carolyn Jackson.
Carolyn Jackson, 6407 Forest Avenue. I just wanted to say that this is regards the Byway Brewery. According to the research that I have done, the city has given them somewhere in the neighborhood of $300-some thousand with a rebate of 300 and something, which basically means that they don't get, if they survive 5 years, they will only be paying $5,000, which is roughly $1,000 a year for that land. Can we really afford that? That's all my concern is. Can we really afford it? And then I further looked. It appears that they are only going to have somewhere between 15 and 17 individuals working at the brewery. To give that kind of money to a startup company, I think that's a bit lavish, especially when we are currently experiencing a lot of expenses and we're having to cut a lot of things that we should not have to cut. And I think that that should have been looked at prior to this being, this Byway Brewery having been approved. The other thing is with regards to the seniors and the smartphones and the computers and things like that, many seniors do not have internet access at their homes. However, the Ophelia Steen Center will be including in their senior program the use of computers. We do have computers that were donated, and we have no problem with incorporating instructions and a program so that they will be able to come in and access the city website so they can make those reports. Thank you.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Never mind.
All right, the next speaker, I have Carlotta King and Carlotta Blake King. Is that the same one? Somebody signed a Carlotta King, and then Johnny Williams and a Carlotta Blake King.
The name is Carlotta Blake King, and I pass.
Okay, Johnny Williams.
Good evening, Council. Johnny Williams, 7623 Beach Avenue. I would just like to read you guys a letter that was forwarded to me today. It says, "To Johnny Williams, concerned voices of the Hubert Humphrey Senior Building. Regards to Helen Cookie Sputic of the Hammond Board, Housing Authority Board. Hello, Mr. Williams. I'm writing this letter to let you know how much we miss your cooking. You single-handedly fed us with love and great pride. Since you have been gone, the morale inside of our building has dropped dramatically. One of the board members of the Hammond Housing has made us feel like trash. Who is this board member? You may think it's Joe McCarthy, but it's not. This board member is Helen Cookie Sputic. We were all sitting in the hallway just reminiscing, and she started reading Jake Jacobs' newspaper. Don't get me wrong, we love his papers, they are free. So one of the residents had asked Cookie if she knew who was running against McDermott, because we feel that he has done nothing for the city except take everything from us. And she replied, no one who's any good, he's not worth it. Just remember that you are living in public housing and that who keeps you in your homes with heat and water. Johnny, we are so afraid to come out and vote because of her intimidation and the way the mayor has talked to us. So many of us are moving from here because of the cruel behavior we have suffered from the hands of this board member and Director Carmen. They are forcing people out of their homes for simple violations. Helen Sputic should not be on the board due to the fact she lives at the Renaissance Towers. We know when he reads this, he will start more trouble. If there is anything you can do, please help us. No, you know we all stand behind you. If you need anything, please contact me. You know who I am. You have at least 100 and 120 people that lives here. Now, my concern, maybe the mayor doesn't know about this, but I have known Helen Sputic since 1995. That's Cookie to most of you. And there has been nothing but trouble behind that. So I don't believe the mayor knows what's going on, but this is just to let him know that's what's happening. Helen Sputic is starting trouble among the seniors in the Hammond elderly, Turner Park, and the Renaissance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Mr. President, I'd like to open up under due and unfinished business, reopen the meeting.
We're under public expression, Councilman Higgs.
I thought you was.
No.
Sorry.
Next speaker will be Kitten Gray. Mr. George Stoya. That ends public expression. Motion to adjourn.
Mr. President,
Councilman
I
Higgs.
make a motion to reopen the regular order of business. I so move.
Motion by Councilman Higgs, second by Councilman Markovich to reopen business. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President,
Councilman Higgs.
I'd like to make a motion to have a moratorium on the jaywalking issue to find out if we can come to some solutions. I so move.
It's a motion by Councilman Higgs. Do I have a second to open up a moratorium? Do I have a second? Motion fails. Motion to go back to regular order of business.
So move.
Motion by Councilman Markovich. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Spitali. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Councilman Markovich.
President.
Second by Councilman Spitali.
Good.
Meeting adjourned.